We're back. So, when last we left off, the Left Stars and their patron Avindir had arrived in the capital city of Consonance. Avindir went off to attend two meetings with the promise to link back up the following day, and Aesop toured the party through areas following the main northern road of the city. At Aesop's home neighborhood, the Minotaur people were found to be away. At his parents' house, a housekeeper spoke of how they were overdue for their return, which unsettles the nerves a little bit, but also they keep busy. The party then went into Mother Mary's, a small tabaxi kitchen where two tabaxi named Sky and Mary served them a delicious vegan curry rice dish. And then you all dropped off some of Avindir's mail at the Titlefall University Student Center. As you rest for the night in Aesop's home, Clax was visited by a half-orc figure referred to as Lieutenant Longol, whom he had flagged down earlier in the day through some City Watch members. Longol was pretty direct in what he wanted, saying that somebody named She wants to meet tomorrow. And tomorrow is today, as the sun rises over another glorious morning where we last left off. So Flint and Clax slept in a little bit because they took on a solo watch, so it's sort of Aesop, Drada, and Mouse who wake up bright, shining early as the sun is rising.
Is there somewhere we can get pastries for everyone?
Pretty sure there is. Also, good morning. Hope you slept well. Drada, you as well. So I will kind of make sure nothing was disturbed in the house overnight, and kind of clean up a little bit and go on a morning walk, morning jaunt over to the local pastry shop.
Okay. As you're sort of just, orienting yourself in the morning, I tend to imagine that most people were probably just sleeping in the living room. Maybe you, Aesop, were in your bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't long as you're sort of putting on your armor and your sort of day-to-day stuff that you do sort of hear the door opening out in the front door of the house, and in walks Kelby, the housekeeper from before. And as you, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Nope.
She just sort of acknowledges folks and then sort of looks over at Clax and Drada, who are probably snoring and passed out with a couple of empty wine bottles next to them.
Clax and Flint.
Oh, sorry, Flint, yes.
Yeah, they got a little too heavy-handed last night. But
it's fine.
We're gonna go off on a pastry run. Would you like us to grab anything for you while we're out?
No, that won't be necessary. I'll just take care of this.
You got it.
You see that she comes in with. She sort of politely walks past you and goes towards your parents' room first. It looks like she has mail in her hands, adding to the stack of mail that was left on the bed earlier. But you go out. Do you have I know we talked about restaurants a little bit. Do you want to come up with a little pastry shop that's sort of around the corner?
Sure. So seeing as how most minotaurs are vegetarian, if not all, that I know of. There is a handy dandy vegan pastry shop close by. Coming up with a name is hard on the spot. Call, called the.
I can get it if you want.
I got it. I got it.
Okay, I have several options.
Oh no, you okay? If you have options, go for it.
The Labyrinth. I don't know if it.
Name.
I don't know.
Can it be like just as basic? It's like it's
Minotaur
Randy's
Munchies.
pastries, you know.
Okay.
Just, it's Randy.
Or I was gonna go even more basic and just go local baked goods.
Yeah, it's just like when you go to get a haircut and it just says barber.
Yeah,
It's just a sign that says like baked goods here. You're able to get all that you want, but as you're out and about, Mouse and Drada, are you up to anything? Waiting for your companions to wake up?
I think I'm probably looking around the house and trying to find more embarrassing or incriminating early writings, drawings, or portraits of Aesop at a young age.
Oh god, it's probably a few in there, to be honest.
Go and roll an investigation check. Why not?
Oh,
First roll of the
pleasure.
night.
A 19. I mean, tell me, is your search focused in any particular area? I mean, you have probably a good 30 minutes before Aesop gets back.
I would say, looking at any, I think more towards the private areas of the house, like the kind of areas where it's not like, oh yes, we need to keep things prim and proper and presentational, but like this is where nostalgic old photos get to be. Like the bathrooms, and there's little Aesop in a bathtub.
Yeah, I will say I don't know that the DSLR camera has been invented in my fantasy world. So, but there are.
No, they hired a portrait painter
Yes.
to paint baby Aesop in the bathtub.
I'd like to think that, and Aesop, correct me if I'm wrong, the nature of this household is very decorative, but there's probably not a lot of family photos.
No.
But
unless they're family photos or drawings of them in a war setting.
Yeah, but I will say, with a 19, you come to, I'm imagining to be the parents' bedroom, and you look. It's your first time in here, and you don't want to linger too much. You know, Aesop told you not to come in here, but you open the cabinets that that are where his mother's armor seems to be set, and there's like a little jewelry box there that you just sort of like peek open it, and it has one of those like clay hoof imprints of and it sort of is written atop that like you don't necessarily know the significance of it, but it's sort of written. It says like my destiny, my 2, like the number 2.
Thinking, pocketing that for later, but in the meantime, George is like, wow, look at those tiny little feet.
Not literally pocketing it, I imagine.
Oh, no.
I was about to say, are you stealing that?
I am stealing childhood memorabilia.
It's about this time, as you shut the door, and make it as clear as that you weren't in there as possible. Admittedly, never rolling a stealth check away from Mouse or anybody, but as Aesop is coming back in, Clax and Flint are also waking up. If you could both roll me a Constitution saving throw just to see how that goes for you.
Flint's fine. Save. Sorry.
Yeah, you're both fine.
Ooh.
You had a fair bit, but it was decent quality wine. It wasn't designed to get you wasted.
+7 is a lot on a save.
It is.
Somebody's got to be the tank.
Yeah. But you
I was
all...
pleasantly surprised when I went to roll this and mine was a +5. I was like, oh, that's pretty good for.
But you all rendezvous, and the morning is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Locally baked good pastries. I know it's not bread, but it's what the Minotaurs love to eat in a good old normal morning routine. I'll plop a pastry in everyone's hands if they want, and I'll kind of sit down, cross-legged on the floor, watching everyone eat, see if they like it.
We're good.
They're a little dry. Just they're vegan pastries. Yeah, most Minotaurs are not.
I didn't know
Not
you-
yeah.
Didn't know you could make a vegan pastry. They're still good. Again, not bread. Still really good.
Right.
Burger.
Until it's
I'm sorry, Jacob, you cut out a bit.
you can tell some. Yeah, they did a nice job with the it's hot water crust pastry. You can tell it's nice.
Hot water. Yep. So what's the plan for today? Do we have a specific idea of what any of us want to do here?
I think we were planning to meet up with Avindir early evening, I think. Just to let him know what our plans were. Because I think that's when he was leaving Consonance.
That's right.
I'm not saying we should read any of it, but should we look at like the from line on some of those letters that your parents seem to keep getting?
Yeah, I was thinking about I should really commit mail fraud and just kind of read through their mail.
I mean, we've got a forgery kit if we need to
That'd
like
be a
open one
fraud.
and reseal it.
Actually, in fact, while we're sitting here eating, might as well have something to read in the meantime, and I'll go into the parents' bedroom. If Kelpie's in there, I'll be like, I just need to know if my parents are okay. I really hope you don't mind that I'm going to be reading their mail.
It's not my place to judge, she says.
Thank you. And I'll just take the big stack and head back into the living room. Is there a common theme amongst the mail? Is there a common name, org,
Yeah,
money?
so you see a number of them seem to be posted from City Hall, Consonance City Hall. You see one that particularly is addressed from Mistral and has your handwriting on it. It is the one at the bottom of the stack, which you could discern implies that you just missed them. Like they were answering their mail up until they got yours. But the others are sort of generically posted, and they almost have like like somebody is paid to have these sent to people.
Right.
Like there's marketing in here. In my fantasy worlds, I choose to believe that if you have transmutation magic, you can basically run a printing press. Like there's you open one just because I've prepared these because I think it's funny. You have there's one that's like sale, stock up on your Enchanted Emporium to get 50% off all elemental resistance elixirs and spell scrolls. There's Greetings from the Burning Needle. We have a wild party tonight. This was a couple weeks ago. With live music and bottomless mugs of ale. Come by and let loose with your fellow warriors. There's one from the Heroes Academy. Explore the most dangerous dungeons and ruins in the land. We offer great rewards and even greater thrills. Visit the Iron Brotherhood today to get your armor and weapon serviced by the best blacksmiths in the city. Things like that. There's a stack of them that all sort of seem, like non-important.
I was about to say spam. The Iron Brotherhood, I do hand to either Flint or Clax, whoever's closest to me. If you guys need anything done, this is probably the best place to go. Clax, you probably are aware of this place.
I would say so. They probably have contracts for some standard issue gear at the City Guard.
Nothing interesting from City Hall. None of the. I'll go through the City Hall mail in case they like. How's that super secret mission you're on?
No,
how's that going?
Yeah, sorry. These were from City Hall. It was sort of
Oh.
like through their mail service, they sent all these spam messages.
Well, I will throw the spam away, and I will precisely place my mail that I sent on their little like nightstand and make it look all perfect. So when they get home, if I'm not there, it's right there for them to see it. And I'll tell Kelpie that just make sure that this mail piece, this paper, is always put on top, so they can see it.
Very well. She is pretty much done. I mean, she's only been here for like a half hour and just tidied up a little bit of the party's mess from the night before, and tidied up your room, like made the bed and such. But otherwise, she's not necessarily like she has work to do. You get the impression that she's probably servicing several houses, and she leaves. Like she sort of just waves and says, if you guys are staying, I'll be coming in every morning.
Can't say that either way, but if we do, then we're here.
She sort of gives a slight nod and gentle wave and leaves out the front door.
Is there anything that y'all wanted to visit? Drada, I know that you wanted to see part of the school. It is the daytime now, so we'd be able to get into the more classroom areas.
Yeah, I'd be happy to go, but the other folks don't need to come if they don't want.
I mean, we don't really have any other plans at this point.
Well, we needed to see Avindir, maybe go over to the factory precinct to see what's going on with the Minotaurs, and maybe whatever it was Clax needed to do that I don't know if any of us know about yet.
No, we don't.
You don't, but Flint, you know that Clax got a visitor last night before you passed out.
I imagine you don't say that out loud.
Yeah, probably not. But
Sean, if you want to test to see if we can pick up the dog noises.
Oh no, I'm off mute. So
okay,
sorry.
Good. No, all good. Well, the morning is yours. I assume there's good old gift of alacrity and such handed out, but beyond that, where would you like to go?
Well,
I want to go into school. If y'all want to split the party.
I could take you around the school, just so you don't get lost if you're looking for a specific place to go, Drata. And then, if we need to, we can both disguise ourselves as students.
Well, that was already part of the plan.
Great. Clax, you were saying something?
I was just going to recommend if we're going to do something, we might as well go to the school first since it's right here. So if any of us want to go along, that'd be the time to go.
Is this something you want company for, Drata?
Like, I'm not doing anything shady, but which I realize sounds really convincing as a statement. But I don't need company. Slash, if people want to come, sure, but I might wander off on my own for a bit if that's okay.
I can go to certain points. I can just point you in the right direction, and then I can break off. Because I can always go to the temple, Temple of Vapos, kind of figure out this.
Oh yeah.
Take it out and like figure out this thing, and then maybe we can meet up at the factory precinct later today.
Quick question on the factory precinct. Actually, I guess a better question is the where would be the best shopping be for like equipment and gear? I'm sorry, I probably should have read that a little bit sooner.
No, it's all good. I don't know if I gave you that sort of details. In the factory precinct, you would know there to be the Solar Square, which is just sort of a market. I'll just ping it over here. It's a market that is more sort of like farmers market sort of supplies. If you were looking for sort of weapons and stuff, you would go to the Iron Brotherhood, which is here. If you're looking for things more of like specialty made or potentially things of a more expensive or intricate nature, then you would probably go to the Southern Heights that has a different market called the Jewel. This tends to be a town that is a lot of the buildings are residential, and so a lot of the commerce kind of goes through markets or through guilds. And so depending on what you're looking for, you might have a special like a building that's dedicated to it. Otherwise, the markets are the best place to go.
And you said it was the Iron Heights, or what was the name?
Iron Brotherhood.
Yeah,
Iron
Brotherhood.
Sorry.
Yes.
Wow, I was nowhere close on that one.
What was the other one? The more specialty?
The Jewel.
And that was in Southern Heights.
Yes.
That's where. Okay. Whew. All right. So you can tell I cannot take notes and listen at the same time.
But it sounds like at the very least, Drata is getting dropped off at the university. Is that correct?
How
Such a big day.
Drata, how long do you think you're going to be at the uni?
Not that long. Should be just like a morning.
Knowing the size of the city, how long would it take us to get from our current location down to the factory district? I know it's not nearly as big as.
Yeah, it isn't, but you have to go around the Citadel, which means it's going to take like 3 hours. It's sort of like you have to go through Citadel, or you have to go around the Citadel, and you have to go through the gates. So if you're following the main road, it's quite a ways around. But it is morning, like early morning right now.
Okay. Yeah, Drata, if you're not going to spend too long, like maybe an hour or so, I'll go to the academy with you. Been a while since I've been on the grounds. My last patrol was like, I don't know, 18 months ago. I'm on there, 24 months ago. Can't even remember now at this point.
Okay.
But if you're gonna be like 3-4 hours, I do want to get over the factory
I
precinct.
think an hour or two is probably fine.
Yeah, then I'll go with Drata.
I mean, just an hour or two. Might as well all stick together.
Okay. Well, unless somebody tells me they're splitting off, you do that. Only takes you a good half hour or so to reach the sort of student center entryway that you had first came here when you dropped off some of the mail last night. I'd sort of explained a little bit that the third floor was sort of political science, sociology, things like that. It's referred to as the Aesop, you would know this, Strata would not, referred to as the Hall of the Counselor. You sort of approach this lower level of the university, and let me look at my in-game calendar. I didn't think about whether it's a weekend or not, because it really matters. Nope, it's functionally Tuesday. And
functional Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, I have these fantasy names that I am never going to memorize, so it's Sunday, Moon Day, Blood Day, Earth Day, Growth Day, Feast Day, and Still Day.
Ooh,
but
Blood Day.
That's functionally Tuesday. Doesn't matter. We don't have to do that level of immersion, but this time in the morning, there are a number of students, sort of, which tend to be younger than this crowd of adventurers wandering in. They tend to be wearing kind of. There's no single uniform at this school. There tends to be a mishmash of personalities and whatnot, and you do kind of stand out as a motley crew, but also not. There is quite a diverse student body as well, and you find that there's half orcs here, there's gnomes here, there's tabaxi, there's a number of sort of young adult personalities running up and down the halls, but you are sort of spotted as oddities by somebody who seems to be faculty near the front door. You see this.
I will say, before you get any further, we might look even a bit more odd. That I think Drada, before going into this situation, will have absolutely cast a disguise self on himself. Not knowing at all that there is no formal uniform. But wearing like a mismatch of what he would imagine merch would be. And like still kind of looking like himself, but like instead of the alternative goth kid, the like if Drada was a jock energy, like blonde hair, not shaven on the sides, like a little perhaps less lean and scrawny. Really
Yale
trying
sweatshirt.
Exactly. Trying to blend in, and in doing so, I am sure standing.
Yeah, standing out quite a bit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the information that Drada has about this university. Previously, you were in the park and saw that there was their mascot, or at least their symbology, seems to be of these like hands that are conducting. And I tend to imagine that Drada's first instinct would be to like have a uniform that is not a tuxedo, but is sort of like a little formal wear, and probably has like if you wanted to wear one, could probably have a white tie associated with it, but
just because I think that we're gonna run into a little bit of issue, I am also gonna cast Disguise Self on myself. I'm gonna look the same, but I am going to put on school merch. So we're gonna do school sweatpants, school shirts, school sweater, school hat, necklace everything, and just kind of take Dorado around the arms and be like, I'm so happy for your first day of school. You're gonna do so well, and me and the rest of the family, we're just so proud of you. We just want you to just do so well.
Stop it. Get off me. I get that you're really proud, but you're smothering me with your love, and I'm really uncomfortable.
You're just gonna do so well.
Excuse me, are you you turn around and see that there's a half-orc man with like graying hair that sort of pulls up in front of you and says, "Excuse me, are you new here then?"
Yes, hi. He's a new
Hi.
student. We're looking for the political science classrooms. Could you just point us in the right direction? We just want to see our son off to his first class.
His first class, didn't the semester start a couple weeks ago?
You know what? We had to travel over here, and we were a little late. Yes, unfortunately. But we're here now, and we're here to support.
Give me a deception check.
God. All right. Not my strong suit. Oh, it was a 19.
That's
Alright.
I mean, still a
Can
relatively
I
necklace.
get action by committing even further to this con in this
Of
life?
course.
You know, there was like a rain that was like upside down, and like we got trapped in it for like a week and a half. It was bad. It was bad.
Okay, this is not the health action. This is a separate role. This is Drauda's role.
Oh God. Okay. I take deception. No.
Thankfully, in this instance, the look is that of like, all right, this kid's lying to me, but the parent seems genuine. So, whatever, they're paying the bills. Is sort of the impression you get is like, all right, do you need to know? Should I get somebody to take you up? Do you know where you're
yes.
going?
No, not at all. If we could get a little tour, that'd be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Of course, and he looks past you at the rest of the group. How close are you all standing?
Well, Mouse has stepped up to play mom.
We're one big happy family here.
Yeah, we're really like into like alternative forms of family structure.
Community home.
You guys are wearing armor, I want to be clear. Flint and Clax.
I was gonna say, I think Flint maybe seeing this all start to go down, just like casually veered off, like he wasn't with these people.
I'm following Flint's lead. Like,
Okay.
I don't know what to do in this situation. I was like, I just wanted to come by and see an area I haven't been to in a while.
All right. You guys, they look. You guys are at least 10 feet away, just listening in on this, and this half-orc man goes, all right, please come with me. Your professor's name was, what is the class you're going to? As he sort of starts to walk down, sort of like the Great Hall of the first floor.
God, and let me try to find the paperwork. Andrada just feigns going through a bag, and obviously actually has a bunch of like crumpled notes and discarded whatevers, and like just mimes being lost in his bag. Like, I don't know. Oh my God, I'm sorry we're so late. Sorry.
Son, where's your class schedule? I thought you said you took it with you.
I thought I did.
Just always so forgetful.
Right.
I think it's an entry-level course. Any help would be. Sorry to ask more of you, I guess.
Oh gosh. He leads you to the third floor of the building, leading up a sort of several sets of stairways. Seems that most of the students seem to be funneling into their classes, and You are currently part of what would be the late crew if you were an actual student. But there are a number of rooms that you sort of walk by that are not like particularly named, but you see something that resembles a kind of like cozy library or commons room that has just at a glance, you're kind of walking past this. You haven't really gotten a chance to sort of look and see what they have, but you're walking past it. You see a library. There is a lecture hall that you walk past, and there's sort of somebody who's sort of getting the attention of a class of probably just about like 20 or so people, and beginning some kind of lecture before you walk past. There is a debate chambers that has this like large glowing sphere in the middle of it. Aesop, just roll me a history check for me.
Ooh,
Okay.
not too bad.
This glowing sphere is called the Idea Globe. It is a function of the debate chambers that if you're in need of ideas or arguments, it's kind of like a divination tool. It serves to help students find out ways to debate something, especially something that they might not believe in. So it's sort of like used as a easy research tool. You walk by another large area referred to that seems to be like a council chambers. This is somewhere that it seems separate from the debate chambers. It seems a little bit more formal, and you imagine that there are functions that may actually happen here when city council needs to debate something, that it sort of could be done here for the purposes of training students or just for like public officials. But eventually he walks you down to another hallway that sort of goes into a faculty area, and he says, just wait one moment. What was your name? I'll look up your schedule.
My name's Edward. Edward Vincent.
Sorry, you cut out a bit. What was the last name?
Edward. Edward Evanson.
Okay, Mr. Evanson, let me just wait right here. He goes into this sort of windowed office that seems to be talking to somebody at a desk, and you're sort of around the corner from the office.
I was about to say, I'm giving Trotta the look like.
And now time to go.
I'm gonna give Drada guidance. Realizing that we're in a situation, you're guided.
Thank you. And I'm like, thank you both. I can take it from here if you want to get the fuck out. That'd be great. Thank you.
Have a good day, son. And I turn and walk down the hall.
I'll follow you.
And I think Drada would recast another disguised self. To just look like not dead on one of the students that that we passed by that was running late and going into a classroom, but like an off-brand version of them. So like if someone were to look at you from like out of the corner of your eye, you'd be like, oh yeah, they go here.
Sure. Yeah. We'll cross that bridge on exactly what that is if we get there. But what are you looking for with this new disguise?
I'm just looking to not look like the person who just created a name on the spot that the human would then recognize and get me out.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, where are you taking this disguise? Yes.
I think I have two goals. Like, Ada is here just because like this is where his parents met, and he has heard a lot about this place. like wants to kind of like know he's had a very different upbringing than they did, and wants to see what life was like for them and get to know it and see if that's something he'd be interested in. So I think like a mix of like, yeah, maybe like going through the library that he passed, or like one of his parents, if there's, I don't know if it's a place where there's lockers or some vibe, but like if there's anything his parents told him like specifically that he could identify, just to be like connect with them for a moment. And if there's like a large enough classroom or like lecture hall that he could like blend into the back for a bit, like be curious to listen in for a while.
Go ahead and roll. Well, let me ask one more question. Are you intending to exhaust the hour of your disguise? How long are you looking to be here?
Oh yeah, I mean, how long has passed so far?
Since you recast disguise self, like a minute. It's sort of, you have plenty of
I
time.
mean, have we? I'm just
Oh,
thinking of like I said I would only be here for 2 hours total.
oh yeah. Since you left the party downstairs, it's been 10 minutes, I would say.
Yeah, I'm willing to spend 3 of 4 if need be on disguise self. I do think, yeah, after Drada knows that he doesn't have tons of time. So after a moment, I think he's looking to connect, maybe listen in for a minute, and then book it and reconnect with the rest of the party.
Okay, Gil can give me an investigation check.
With
Okay.
guidance if you need
Oh, yeah,
it,
with
assuming that
guidance.
was within a minute.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. It's sort of like we'll say it's getting oriented within that first minute.
Remind me what guidance gives.
Plus 1d4.
That's so exciting. Thank you. Oh.
Good old 16. I would say that with a 16, you pop into the library and just sort of poking around to see what their subject matters are. What is it that the political science library in Titlefall University is covering? You poke through. There's a lot of the sort of common things. I'll DM you a little bit. I'll send you a message in a minute over what some of those things are. But you do sort of stop by. You're in talking to sort of a clerk in the library. You're told that a lot of the sort of more historical records would be locked away in the libraries. In the libraries of the Titlefall archive, and so there's a variety of subjects or old material that may be more relevant to your parents and the work that they sort of studied here together. In a sort of changing field like sociology and political science, you imagine that a lot of the resources that they used to use or study may have been retired, or that these things have been replaced by newer editions and things like that. You also stop by a lecture hall and just sort of peek in the background, and it's sort of a lecture about the politics around the use of sort of elementals in a world that sort of can harness them as a power source. The idea that is it ethical to be sort of using earth elementals for hard manual labor? Is it ethical to have fire elementals heating forges? These are all things that actually happen. And there's sort of like mixed opinions on the matter that seem to say that some elementals are sort of like fully sentient, and that would be bad, but some elementals seem like worker bees almost. Like they're almost like automatons in elemental form. And so if one is able to navigate, the sort of common theme in this lecture is that if one is able to navigate that difference and sort of understand the difference between elementals as tools or elementals as beings, that that it has a place in the world. But eventually you realize that through all this, that you kind of the time is ticking, your friends are probably waiting for you, and I would say during this whole time, as you said you might be spending quite some time here, before Drada has returned, what is everybody else doing?
When they like stepped away and took this like not security guard or whatever, but like the greeter with them, Flint might just try and glance around and just see if he can easily, kind of looking for signs or a map or anything, tell where the history department might be.
I'm sorry, I was typing to Jacob. Could you rephrase that one more time?
Flint's just like, once this greeter person or front desk person had walked away with them, he would just kind of glance around to see if there's like maps or signs or anything for the history department, just seeing if he can figure out where it is easily.
Yeah, I would say that there's probably just a simple campus map somewhere nearby in this sort of student center. And you see that what is labeled as the Tidal Vault Archives, it sort of has topics listed under it, is sort of history and research and things of that nature.
Is it a detailed enough map that it's got like names of professors on it?
Or no, it's sort of like, it's more of a just a campus map that tells you what the different floors are and what you'll generally find there. You do see that like I just mentioned, the archives which is in a separate adjacent building. It's not part of this larger building. Within the main campus, the basement level is sort of the magic facilities, which has, underneath it says like alchemy, enchantment, divination, conjuration, etc. The first floor is the sort of student center, student commons, admission hall. Second floor is art history, performing arts, liberal arts. Third floor is the hall of the counselor, sociology, political science. And the fourth floor is religious studies and philosophy. I can put that in Discord.
I'm just looking specific. My goal is to take Clax on a walk and see if we can go find the history area and see if I can come across Guru Alabaster's office.
You during this time where everybody else is upstairs, you can jet off to the archive building if you'd like.
Yeah. Clax, you want to take a walk?
Absolutely. Who knows what they're getting into?
Sure.
You all walk over
Mouse.
there. Go ahead.
Sorry. Mouse, where are we going? Because I was following you out.
I don't know. We're going somewhere. I'm following. You seem to know your way around better than I do, so I take the lead.
Okay, but if there are any stops along the way, I will let you explore. And I'll probably take us on like just a very general walkthrough of each floor, if they're not like, there's not a greeter, if there's not someone there blocking us.
No, yeah, you're able to continue kind of getting a tour. It seems that now that you've bypassed the student center and the greeter who met you, that you seem to have just the run of the place. There's no like hall monitors or anything. You do imagine that like you can decide what to do with this, but somebody might question you if you linger too much. It's not meant to be an open space.
Right. Actually, I do have a question. If there's a time that we're walking around and like the students get released from their classes, are there any other Minotaur students here?
I tend to imagine that there could be. You'd have to. So you aren't the only young Minotaur
Right.
in your people, and but it is pretty rare for Minotaurs to leave the sort of traditions and work that has been passed down.
Right.
You imagine that there could be. You just have to perhaps go looking for them, and there wouldn't be that many.
Yeah. Okay. I was just like, I'm not actively looking, just if one happened to pop out. But that makes sense.
Okay. Go ahead and give me just, an investigation check as you're sort of walking through the space, and maybe you'll. Okay. We'll come back to that in a minute, but I do want to just sort of come to Clax and Flint. You walk to the archive building, which seems to be just sort of at first glance, it's like a 2-story building that is a little bit more heavily fortified in the sense that there is no real way to walk in to the chambers beyond the front desk without potentially having to get past the person at the front desk. You walk in and there is a kind of like a goblin with red eyes and like blue face paint, sort of like spinning on a stool behind the desk, perhaps bored at first glance, who sort of notices you walk in, and they say, "Need something?"
Yeah. I was just wondering. Do you know if Guru's assistant Jory is working today?
And who are you?
I'm just an old friend of his.
He kind of gives you the eye. Not yet ready to accept a role of any kind. He's waiting for more.
I was just gonna let him know me and some friends of ours were in town if he wanted to stop by. I can just leave a note if he'd rather. I don't.
He slides over a piece of paper.
Just write down, a quick note to Jory letting him know that Aesop and crew are in town if he wanted to swing by later this evening.
Do you? Just to be clear, do you specify where?
I mentioned like Aesop's family's house.
Okay.
Assuming he probably knows where that is.
Awful.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Doing the good work.
Roll me a persuasion check as you push the paper over back to the goblin.
Not great.
He says, "Right, I'll let him know."
Fair enough. Well, have a good day. Wander back off to wherever we had originally split off from the group.
As we walk out, I just turn to Flint. I don't think I really understood that would come from you, but okay, all right.
Fax, give me a perception.
It
Fax, give me a perception check. Just sort of as you're turning towards Flint, back towards the room.
For me, that's pretty good.
Yeah, you're like you like turn back towards Flint as the door is swinging closed, and you see a goblin crunching up a piece of paper and throwing it into a bin nearby.
I'll just keep that piece of information for now.
We didn't have anything else to do, and we're here.
No, just I almost wonder if you've been hanging out with Drada too much.
Maybe.
Well, let's go. Let's see if the rest of them got in trouble or not, and let's make our way over to the factory precinct.
One thing before we all depart. This could. I want to try retroactively, and if it's not, okay. Instead of disguising self as just a rando student, or if Drada just has to disguise self 3 times, that's fine. I'd be interested, I think, if Drada tried to disguise self as, like, appearing as, like, a younger version of his mom, to try to see if any faculty would recognize her and be like, oh, what? Just to have a moment. You specifically,
I
like,
would,
yeah, if
yeah.
we're here for, like, when classes get out.
Yeah. I would say go ahead and roll me an Arcana check. This is sort of like controlling a spell in a way, like you don't necessarily have a picturesque memory of what your mom looked like when she was younger. So it's sort of like, okay. You get something resembling a, like you sort of find a mirror in a washroom of some kind. And casting disguise self, you get what seems like a fairly honest approximation. How would you describe how she looks?
I think, like, picture Drada be attractive in the same way that Benedict Cumberbatch is attractive, and you're like, you're pretty, but you look weird. Like, you have very defined, very angular features. And I think in a lot of ways, his mom, that to be like, she looks like she has some of the same features, but like maybe a jawline that's a bit more rounded out and a nose that isn't as drastic. Like similar features, but in a face that maybe makes a little more sense. But yeah, Air Genasi, probably I think some like bluer skin than Drada has. Drada leans much more towards like the white and almost purple. Yeah, like some messy. I think between his parents, she would have like a messy bob, like snow white hair.
Okay, and you're not making yourself known so much as you're seeing if somebody recognizes you. Is that correct?
And then if they recognize, I think Drada would take note of that, try to find out who they are.
Okay. Give me just an insight check as you're walking back to meet your friends through some of these common areas and halls. Okay. With a 23, you're actually fairly confident that nobody seems to recognize you. Nobody seems to question you. It's been a while since your mother's been here, and you know sessions are in right now, so you'd really have to like introduce yourself to professors and like faculty to really get a clear vibe on folks. But just sort of as you're just sort of making the walk through the common areas, it seems that as of right now at least nobody recognizes you.
Cool.
But you return, although your party may not recognize you as you're doing so. And
Drada
Frank
fully forgets to drop disguise self. Like,
it's
I'll be like,
looking-
can I help you?
what? You already did a lot of help.
I kind of step forward in between.
the voice isn't disguised, I don't think.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
No, not at
Like-
all.
Oh,
Like,
gotcha.
Drada? This is a cute
Yes.
look.
Oh shit. And then
Was that just fleets of imagination, or were you basing that off someone?
someone I just saw in the hall. I thought they had good vibes.
Cute.
Have I seen any other Air Genasi walking around the university?
Yeah. I mean, now and then. Ventus is it's one of the I would say, more dominant species of the land. So I think you would have seen a number.
Before we leave, an update on the investigation check. If there's anything.
I would say, yeah, rewinding a bit before you rendezvous with the crew, there's probably a moment that you know it would be distracting to say hello as you're sort of peeking in on an adventure in a lecture hall, and you see just sort of like a couple horns poking out of the crowd. The most you could do is point it out to Flint, to Mouse, but you know that it would be rude to do anything else at the moment.
Right. I'll just take that with a happy heart.
But you all linked back up. I imagine outside, because the half-orc greeter who was confused by your entry, probably be awkward to run into him again. But and some of you, despite your maybe 20-minute trip to and from the archives, you've been waiting a couple hours for Drada to finish up. But you all come back together, and the rest of the day is yours.
You guys don't mind? I definitely want to go over to the factory precinct. I want to see if there's any shops that we can hit up. There is this one place I remember over there that might have some stuff, just because in our travels haven't really found anything that I could really use at most of those places. I want to see if there's something I can upgrade.
You know, in another like 5 days, we all get paid.
Again? Already?
That's it.
I think so. We get paid at the start of each season, I think. Like, I think we get 500 gold here soon.
I already have more money than I know what to do with. I'm gonna have to take up a hobby other than eating pastries and drinking, because they're not that expensive.
Maybe you can invest in stocks.
What's a stock?
I was gonna say gambling, but okay. Same day.
No, gambling. I've been in enough gamble. What do you call them places? Yeah. Anyways, not good crowds. More likely to get stabbed at some point.
Yeah, so say you probably have broken up a few of them in your time clocks.
Yeah, there's some spots. I don't want to say in town, but outside of town. If you wanna lose some money, it's a good place to do it, especially if you walk in with a lot of money. They'll make sure you walk out with none.
I mean, I'm
looking
sure
for
we
a
can
hobby?
find some things to trade our money for.
They have a lot of vendors at specifically the Jewel. I try to go there every other weekend if I could, just to be in the presence of shopping in of itself.
And we're having this conversation while we're walking, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
DM.
totally fine.
So the Jewel, obviously I patrolled through there and in the Southern District and so forth, but wasn't really my scene. Do you remember any good shops that? I mean, obviously I think there's stuff for you guys there, but like anything I'd be interested in down there. So like I said, I never really paid attention to the shops.
I know that there are shops that cater towards you. However, my clothes, and I'll just kind of point, also came from that market. Two totally different vendors, though. I haven't really dived into the armor world that's at the Jewel, but I know they exist, and I know they do some pretty fine work because they just kind of display some of their pieces.
Why don't we try and hit up both today? Well, actually, because I think finding more information about your parents is probably more important. I say we go to the factory precinct first. That way we can also ask around, check out. Forgive me, drawing a blank on the name of their organization. Holy crap.
The Recovery Squad.
Recovery Squad.
Thank you. That was very difficult tonight. Find out what we can about the Recovery Squad, and if we have time, swing by the Southern Heights, or we can go to Southern Heights first, knowing that again, operating hours. DM. They say like a 9 to 5, or they open late.
Yeah, I mean, some of the places, some places, I would say it's adjacent to the real world. Like some
Okay.
shops would stay open pretty late, some might not. It kind of just depends.
So my recommendation is let's go factory precinct first, because then we can at least start asking around, figuring out some stuff, see what's going on with recovery squad. While we're there, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna take a quick detour. I know what I'm looking for, so I don't think I'll be too long to shop for, and then we can go from there.
What are you looking for?
I don't know if you guys have noticed that I've been trying to do my best to keep my armor up to date and my shield. Both have taken some pretty good whacks, and I like points where some of the pieces of the chain aren't quite back together. It's like, that's where Drata shot me, that's where Drata shot me, and that's where Drata shot me. And you can see that the chains in the armor just not quite mended back together correctly, and so forth. And so kind of looking at that, and then looking at the shield, when you take a close look, there's some pretty good cracks in the shield, and it still serves its function. It's still fully operable, but wouldn't mind seeing if there's anything we can't kind of do a little bit more. And again, I got more money than I know what to do with, and the only thing I know how to do is fight. So,
I mean, if we're gonna have some downtime at some point, and you want to save some cash, you and I could probably, rent some forge space and.
well, you could do more than axes.
Oh yeah, I'm working on a breastplate for me.
I was wondering where you're going when you're kind of doing your own thing. So what do you? All right, let's talk while we're walking. So what can you
ever
do?
Need any more holes made in that chainmail? I mean, I'm here and
Drata, that was not really an invitation. It just they hurt.
Artisanally crafted holes.
Dude, he messed me up.
Give it a patina character.
That's one way to put it. So Flint, what? Like, I thought I mean, the axe. Trust me, I'm not shopping for a new axe. I love this axe. Yeah.
I mean,
But-
I can make like anything. I can make if we're just talking like normal stuff. If you're talking like enchanted, that's like, whole other thing. That'd be, take a lot longer.
I think it's a bit of A, bit of B. Just in general, they don't give standard City Watch full plate. It's definitely something that's more reserved for, even being a lieutenant. They kind of really want you to quote unquote earn it. So unless you do something very great, or you come from money, which some of our members come from money. Some have it handed down from their family and get it, updated with, the appropriate livery. But I didn't have those luxuries, so that's something I would like to look at. But if I can find something enchanted, that'd be great. But I don't know how expensive enchanted stuff is. I've never shopped for it. But
I'd have to look back through my notes on making enchanted stuff. But like regular stuff, like I think I could probably make like a suit of plate in like a week or two. Especially if you're helping me out.
Let's see what we got for pickings when we go shopping. I might be hitting you up.
Granted, that
How about
requires us to
shields?
like work in single place. I mean, shields certainly we could do, but those are easy enough. They might just be worth like I
Wow.
don't think shields cost a ton.
Here's the funny thing. I really like my axe. I'm really partial to a specific type. Like, I love my shield I have now, but it's getting beat up. Like, we'll talk more. So, Clax will just continue to talk with Flint about specs and kind of shapes and utility in the shield and what a breastplate would look like. I don't want to bore the group.
No, it's all good. Is there anybody else, like, as this conversation is maybe taking place in the front of the line as Clax is leading the party, is anybody in the back line talking about anything?
As we're walking, because it's late summer, it's about to be fall, right?
Correct, yes.
I would like to look for and pick just one from each appropriate plant that I find. Not more than one. But any like stems of mums or lilies or daisies or some late blooming things that haven't bloomed yet and are just buds. I would like to collect a small bloomed bouquet in essence.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a survival or investigation check.
I know which one that will be.
Probably the wisdom one. Okay. I would say even I've already moved the token to the factory precinct, but a lot of the luck that you have is sort of in the first leg of the journey in the sort of Van Sennery district. Tends to be more what you imagine to be like more fertile soil, perhaps because of the lake that's here, or perhaps just sort of the way that people tend to the earth. But as you start getting towards the stone landing in the factory precinct, it starts to become a little bit more like city/industrial, and definitely sort of like are not finding much luck in that regard at all. But in the Van Centenary, you are able to find just a bouquet of a few smaller flowers, things that are late blooming in fall, like you said, without much issue.
Lovely.
But if there's nothing else, you all arrive. What is your first? Just to make sure I understand, what is your first destination?
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, but I think it was going to be the recovery squad org building.
Okay. Aesop is leading the party towards a building that that is shared with you to be called the Horns. It is a multi-towered building that has a bridge that goes between the two of them. It seems that only one of the buildings, the left tower, sort of has the entrance, like an entrance to it. And what you imagine, like these towers are big enough to be like some of the skyports that you've seen in some of the other cities you've been to. They do have a sort of different architecture and shape to them. They're more rectangular and sharp than the more decorative or touristy sort of facilities that the skyports generally can be. Not touristy is the wrong word. They're just a little bit more ornamental, like lighthouses almost. But this seems to be like almost like a miniature stronghold in the form of two towers that are focal points on the horizon of this district. Aesop, as you sort of walk people in, one thing, just because I know you would be keeping an eye out for it, you know that these towers can be used as like helipads almost for recovery squad ships. But it's very clear to you as you're approaching that there's nothing parked here at the moment.
Right.
And as you walk in, the door is open. It is not locked down, and you find a sort of like workstation where there's a variety of like instruments and like leather working station and whatnot. And then there's a spiral stairway that seems to go up further into the tower. But at this workstation, you do all see for the first time a minotaur that is not Aesop. From behind one of the key sort of like the general structure of minotaurs is all very similar, but one thing you do notice that maybe because you haven't met other minotaurs before is that this one only has one tail, whereas Aesop has two. But as the door sort of swings open and Aesop as this minotaur turns around, Aesop, you see somebody who You know a little bit, but not a lot. A kind of slow, a little perhaps dim-witted minotaur named Noru. Nooru.
Missed to know.
That that tends to be dim-witted. Might be rough to say, but they're sort of their specialty is not war. They're sort of like an administrative person, and they probably are the butt of some of the jokes within the more the more muscular crowd of folks. But
The jocks.
yeah. But he turns around and before even sort of acknowledging you, he says, "Can't help you today," but turns around and sees you and says, "Oh, that's a sight for sore eyes."
Hi, Noru. And I'll just kind of go in for a big hug.
He leans into it in a friendly way and says, "Haven't seen you around for not sure how long."
It's been a while, but I made friends.
Mhm.
Everyone, this is Noru, one of
Hello.
our admin here at the Horns.
Hello, hello, hello. He leans down a little further to Flint and Mouse, and says, "Well, friends of the Tiern family are friends of ours. What brings you all here today?"
So I just got back to the city and realized everyone was gone. I am completely unaware of what's happening, and I was hoping that you may tell me what's going on, or you could bring me to someone who does if they're here.
Afraid it's just me holding down the fort.
Oh, okay. Is everything okay?
I think so. He sort of, you see him considering. Give me an insight check for me, and I'll allow one other person to do it as well.
Pick me, pick me.
Go,
Good.
Mouse, go.
See, I don't think you have to ask.
Oh, that wasn't that good.
You're just sort of a little like, not, I don't want to say awestruck. Like, of course, there's more than one Minotaur, but you're just sort of. Like,
I mean, Mouse has probably never seen a single-tailed minotaur before.
yeah,
It's true.
that's true. So you're a little distracted. Except the read you're getting is sort of like you don't necessarily work here, and it's like government business, but also your parents. There's sort of like there's a challenge going on in Noru's mind right now about like how
Right.
much should be shared.
Me reading that, I'll be like, I think I'll look at the rest of the group. I'll be like, I think this might have to be a one-on-one conversation, just because organizational kind of missions and kind of what they're doing right now. If you guys don't mind just waiting here, Noru, if it's just me and you, could we talk about it? I just really would like to know where my parents are.
I'm just checking as a DM, but you are not part of the organization right now, right?
Nope.
You're kind of like a you've at most you've sort of maybe went through like the academy of it.
Right.
Okay.
And was taken on various missions as
Yeah.
a child.
Yeah, and more of like in an observing capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's why I try to frame it as I just want to know where my parents
Yeah.
are, then kind of know what's happening.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check.
Oh, great.
Okay. He says, yes, I think that would be best. You all understand, of course.
Sure. Yeah, we can wait outside.
Good. He actually says, there's a spiral stairway that goes up, but there's behind him there's also a door, and he says, if you're all hungry, there's some sort of dry cafeteria things that we keep here for storage if you want to sit down.
I think you know her. That was very nice.
Dox is on his way over already.
Yeah, he opens the like a very large double door, like the similar to Aesop's home. These doors are sort of like just giant for some of you, but he pulls it open, and you find like a sort of a cafeteria area, and he sort of points to the back and says, in that room you'll find everything you need. Will just be a few minutes. And over the course of exploring, it's kind of like, frankly, it's probably more bread and rice that you would have to cook, and sort of like cereals or grains or granola, like things that keep that vegans could eat without issue. But as you guys sort of wander off, he turns to Aesop and says,
Before that conversation continues,
sure.
Are we behind closed doors?
He opened the door, like after you walked through, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Did they close the door behind us?
No, but the cafeteria opens up into like a wider, like 30-foot square space. And so he would probably, just for narrative's sake, he probably would wait to start talking until you guys are like 15 feet away.
Perfect. Never mind then.
Okay. He does leave the door open, though, I will say, and turns his full attention to Aesop, like away from the door. And says, so you were saying...
I've been gone. I tried to find my own way in the world. I joined the Heroes Academy, which has brought me to these lovely people that you just met. But I've been away, and I tried to send my parents like a mail in the mail system, and when I got here, they never received it. So that makes me a little sad. And as soon as I got here, I realized that they were on a mission, and they should be back by now. Or at least that's what I've been told thus far. So I really just need to know if everything's okay. As the son of, as I pull up my parents' names real quick, Tarek and Merida, of course.
He's sort of like mumbling to himself as you're speaking. You mentioned getting mail in the Heroes Academy. He's sort of like scratching this like thin beard that he has, and he's like, "Oh, I got some mail from the Heroes Academy recently." But then you mention, you get the impression that he got the similar spam that was on the bed. But then as soon as you mention your dad's name, he sort of like straightens up a little bit and says, "Ah, of course. I believe that they are okay. There was a disturbance that required some expert consulting, and I believe that they were brought on board to help set up a new base."
Do you know where that new base is located?
Yeah, it's to be, as the DM, it's sort of like I'm demonstrating how he sort of like is a little slow, but he's like, oh yes, I believe it was the Savannah Island. Roll me a history check.
Yeah. Do history, come on, do something for me. Hey.
It was like 5, and then it was 18. The Savannah Island is one of the ones that you have been to. It is a largely desert landscape. It was the one island that it was one of the later islands that was part of the journeys that your father was on before he retired. It was perhaps even the last one,
Right.
before he retired.
Do I remember any like specific events that happened there that why we had to go there? Maybe I could try to deduce like possibly what they needed consulting on.
You recall with the 20, I would say you recall there being sort of sandstorms that were like you weren't ever brought into the fray,
right,
for sort of some of these things, but you recall there being a variety of sandstorms that were sort of kicking up into the clouds and creating difficult winds around where the sky-ships were going. And you probably have heard tales from your family that but that weren't tremendously detailed, but sort of indicated that that there had been an issue with I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. There had been issues where sand, what you imagine to be like sand elementals, had been sort of bouncing up against like vapor elementals, for lack of a better word. Two sort of opposites that were clashing, sort of like the ultra dry and the sort of like mild and damp of the family trees of elementals, we'll say. That it had almost seemed that the island was being attacked by a presence that would be more aligned with the water, the elemental plane of water. You don't necessarily, like, even a 20, I would say you don't know the details of like what they did to resolve that, but you know that
right,
they had sort of gone into the fray and were able to quell the storm.
right.
But Noru continues speaking and says, something strange happened there, and your father felt it was unfinished business.
Of course he did. Kind of say under my breath. Well, I appreciate you letting me know. Just said that they're not here while I'm visiting the city, but I'm thankful that you had this conversation with me. I really do appreciate it.
Of course. They are delayed, but these things happen, especially in areas that make it difficult to fly. I'm sure they're fine.
It wouldn't be the first strange thing to happen in the recovery squad's history, huh? Wouldn't it?
He just sort of laughs at you and claps you on the shoulder.
Well, I appreciate you staying here and helping out with the admin work for the recovery squad. If no one said it before, we are appreciative of what you do here.
I play to my strengths.
That's important for sure. Sometimes I feel like I need to play to mine as well. But thank you. We'll get out of your hair, and I'll go get my friends.
During that conversation, is the rest of the team having any kind of doing anything between each other?
So Clack's kind of been helping himself to some of the granola, and then kind of just do one of those things like opening each container, seeing if there's anything else good while he shoves another handful of granola in, kind of.
It's not the tastiest thing you've ever eaten. It's not There's not a whole lot. This is dry.
Somebody who's lived on hardtack
Yeah,
as
it's
a guard.
a little bit better than that, but not much.
So I'm still kind of confused about what exactly this recovery squad does. Anybody have any like real idea?
Sounds like they go in and deal with rampaging elementals or something. I don't really know. I've never heard of them before, other than what Aesop said.
I mean, yeah, that sounds about as much as I got. Was right.
Does anybody have a sense of how many of them are? I didn't think, and I like kind of point at the building around us. I didn't realize that they were big enough to have infrastructure.
Yeah, I don't know. I sort of assumed it was like a small team, but it seems like a pretty large organization.
I mean, do any of y'all have narratives in which like are stories of like rampaging elementals affecting your life? Is it that
Yeah.
you've had collectively together? Like, yeah, sure, but
Nope. Just my problems always just came from people.
Around this point, Aesop, you sort of catch the eyes of the party.
Wasn't the food pretty tasty in there? For like being like soldier food, I think it's pretty good.
It was edible.
Oh, well,
Like better than hardtack, and well, I do like jerky, so I can't really say it's not better than jerky, but
right, yeah. You definitely won't be finding meat here.
the granola is decent.
We're ready to go if you guys are. Off to the jewel.
So before we get, well, as we're walking,
Hmm.
how'd you make out? What's up with your parents?
They're on a completely different island. They're on an island called the Savannah Island, mainly desert ecosystem. Previous encounters, I've been there before, and from what I remember, previous encounters with like sand and water elementals not really liking each other over there and like having conflict between the two. But
Do you remember which island it was on our map? Or
I could probably point it out on a map. DM, correct me if I'm wrong. But I could probably point it out on a map.
Yeah, it's the it is the one that like all of our player tokens are on right now.
Got it.
It's one of the closer ones to the mainland.
I mean, should we steal an airship and go save them?
Well, apparently there's been some unseen disturbances, which wouldn't be the first time in our organization's history, but I'm assuming that's what's keeping them there longer. They can handle themselves, just it sucks that they're not back.
Fair enough.
I mean, we could totally go find a way to get there and check on them and see if they need any help.
Yeah, I would love that. I just don't know where we would start on that venture. I don't know if Avindir would appreciate us taking his airship to a completely different island.
He didn't really like that last time.
Yeah, no.
You also know that his airship is going to be tied up in a certain auction schedule soon.
Right.
Yeah, we'll just take all of his casks of brandy with us.
To a war zone. Perfect.
What
You
could
won't
go
mind.
wrong? All right. Well,
So do you feel
This is-
better?
I do. I have confidence in my parents that they'll get their shit done. I'm surprised, but also not surprised that they even went. They're supposed to be retired and kind of just living a more normal life, but guess this was important to them. So they're gone.
Do you have any way to like send them a message or
I don't.
something?
Not really something I've learned.
And we didn't see any airships on these horn buildings as we came in. Or...
Correct.
No. They would have definitely been taken to, especially if it was for a different island. At least I know where they are in the world. That brings a little bit more ease to my life. Not totally gone, my anxiety with all this, but it has lessened.
Did he give you a time frame on when they're going to be back?
No. Nomu, Noru. I see Nomu with an sorry, Noru. Totally changing everyone's names. More of an admin officer, if that makes sense. He kind of just runs the paperwork and make sure the building still stands when everyone comes back. A lot of people don't appreciate that, but I've seen the kind of work that he does, and it's a lot.
Always good to make friends with the admin people.
I agree.
Well, as
Well,
the party considers the next steps, I do want to still fit in a break, even though this is a shorter game. So
I'm good.
let's take 5, and then we'll come back and figure out where we're going next in this game.
See you in a minute.
See ya. we are back. You have just left the Horns. It is afternoon at this point. Traveling throughout the city does take time. It may be a more condensed city, but the nature of navigating it does still eat up the day. I will say I want to give people roleplay opportunities at these markets, but I do want to provide some expediency for sort of like basic shopping. So if we're planning to go towards the markets, we'll probably just like kind of like go through like what are you looking for, what do you want to buy, as opposed to like meeting individual shopkeepers and whatnot. But that being said, maybe that's not where you're going. So where would the party like to go?
Sorry, shoving food in my face. I kind of enjoyed the idea of checking out the fancy district first, up in the Southern Heights, the Jewel, and seeing that first because I have a better understanding that what I really need will probably be at the factory district, but I want to see what the fancy stuff is now that I have money for a change. Okay. I'm good with that approach if everybody else is, but
giving you a bit like just some rough measurements, because I know you have an interest in meeting Avindir, although you don't have to. You would be able to hit both markets and then meet Avindir at the gates, pretty close to him leaving. So just sort of saying that for the record.
Got it.
I don't think we have anything else.
At time and we
on
get stuck up somewhere. I have both Animal Messenger and Skywrite. So I can probably get a message to him one way or another if, for whatever reason, we don't make it back in time.
You also have the
And I can
distant
call
journal.
him overnight, too. And we have a distant journal. We have lots of options for talking to Avindir.
Skywrite feels like the most logical way of doing that, though. Just a big ol' hey, we're running late. Sorry.
Mouse is determined to use Skywrite at some point.
I
Amazing.
think tonight might be the night.
Jory, meet at Aesop's.
nice.
I don't think we have anything else to do prior to getting to Avindir's, unless Clax is trying to meet up with mysterious person.
I would like to do something beforehand, which I don't want to chance it, so I think I might split from the group if they're going shopping and go to the Temple of Apos.
Okay, that's all the way back up to the Van Centery.
Yeah.
So what would be your route for the day? Would you be going to the temple and then back home? Or would you be going to, like, what just sort of mapping out what the rest of the day looks like for you?
I think after the Horns, I think I'll go straight over to the temple, which will take me a little bit to get over there. And then before I leave, we all decided for a meeting with Avindir, so then I could meet y'all wherever.
Your trip to Vapos, or to the Temple of Vapos, and then if you wanted to go to meet Avindir, you would be able to make that 20 minutes earlier than the party could. So, in theory, that could be a place to rendezvous, or you could just take that meeting by yourself, or sort of any number of things.
Right. I shocking to say, but I think I'm gonna split away from the shopping trip this time. I feel like I have a duty to figure out what to do with Neptus, and this out of all places might be the best to do it with Temple of Vapos being here. So if you guys don't mind, I'll meet you guys soon tonight. Mouse, you can skywrite me to tell me where you guys are.
I mean, I think we'll probably meet up with Avindir near the front gate that we came in on. So plan to meet there.
Works.
Are you good
Mouse?
going alone?
Yeah, I'm fine. I know the city pretty well, but I know you're excited to use Skywrite Mouse, so please, I will be looking at the sky after my temple visit.
Keep your eyes out. Also, tiny beast, just in case.
Okay, the ground and the sky. Perfect.
Okay.
So I'll see you guys later. And then I'll just... If AirPods existed, this would be the point where I put in my AirPods and just take a nice little walk through the city. But I just kind of take in the sounds of the city as I walk.
Okay.
Does Aesop carry an instrument?
Yeah. The
I do.
flute.
Okay.
Well, Aesop is in for a bit of a walk, so what are people shopping for? Let's start there. You guys start at the... what did I call it?
The jewel?
The jewel, that one, yes. I'm a prepared, well-oiled dungeon master. You guys go to the jewel, and it is sort of like a... I don't know, Sean, how much you've been into DC, but it's sort of like an Eastern market vibe, except more dense. There's quite a bit of shops that are sort of focused on handmade clothing and jewelry. There's sort of odds and ends that sort of cater to that clientele. What are you guys looking for while you're here?
So for Clax, it's really armor and shields. You know, that's what he has his heart set on. He, like I said, he really enjoys his axe. If something catches his eye, he will look, but really it's armor and shield is what he's looking for.
Go and roll me investigation.
Oof.
I think I'm mostly just like tagging along with Clax just to consult on things and whatever else. If anything catches my eye, I'll look at it, but like I'm not looking for anything in particular.
Okay, you can get advantage then, as Flint is helping you.
Thank you, Flint. Get a 1. 6.
Do it.
Um,
I think Drada, if it is an Eastern market vibe, yeah, Drada's not looking for like fun earrings or a cool necklace or like some weird handmade piece of clothing. Also, like always on the lookout for some interesting magic items, but don't know if this is the place.
you can roll me an investigation check as well, but regarding shields and shield-like accessories, not having much luck. You find places that deal with and specialize with metal, but you're sort of getting into the territory of like garish gold-plated plates or things like that.
Nothing practical.
Yeah,
it's all ornamental.
Yes. And no like ornamental shields or armor or anything like that. This is what you're able to find in the time that you spend before you know that you have other places to be. You're not having that much luck. Perhaps Aesop could point you in a better direction, which is a similar feeling that Drada might get. Not to say that you can't. I mean, there's plenty of clothing options here and plenty of jewelry options here. But anything in the sort of magic item territory, you are sort of sorely lacking in this moment the ability to sort of like ask the right questions and get the right responses. One of the other, I think, the elements of this area is that Drada, you probably get a couple of looks the way that you wear your makeup. This is it is a hipster district, but it's not necessarily the goth district.
Absolutely rude. All of your shit's basic. Moving on.
Kind of look at the rest of the group. Anybody find anything they want? Because this isn't really my jam.
Need some diamonds recently? Somebody asked me for diamonds. And I didn't want to give up the one I had, but maybe this is a good time to pick up some extras? I don't remember what it was for, though.
Probably doesn't hurt to ask around.
You just have the one?
I have one diamond. A really good diamond.
I mean, we could look around. They're expensive, though.
Everybody else.
What they were used for, it's fine.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Everybody else having rolled or helped in the sort of investigation. I'll say this is a solo roll for Mouse, who is looking herself.
I mean, we might as well look. Could be worse.
Yeah, like the rest of us.
I have a -1, so...
And you still beat the rest of us with advantage.
I will say this is like above board DM that I think would escape Mouse. You find a jewelry store that is willing to sell you a 300 gold diamond for 375 gold. But does Mouse know the difference? That's sort of up to you.
I don't looking for a second giant diamond.
Okay.
Or high quality diamond. I remember in the cave someone asking me for diamonds, or if we had diamonds. I wanted to hold mine. But I don't remember why we needed them. So...
I don't either.
Roll me a wisdom check.
That we got close to death.
I know what it was, but roll me a wisdom
We
check.
thought about diamonds for that altar at the very top floor, but like we never tried them or anything.
Yeah, it was the purity before pressure obelisk.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like it's going to come up very often. I appreciate and ask a lot of questions about this really big diamond out of sheer curiosity and don't spend any money.
They come down to 350, but that's their final offer. Yeah, sort of in a desperate bid to get. They see a heavy coin purse at your side, and that's.
Oh, it only has like 39 coins in it. 48 coins.
Is it 48 platinum?
It's 37 platinum and 9 gold.
Yeah, but they wave you off because they don't know any better, and you don't either.
Y'all are loaded. What did I spend all my money on? I guess math for a breastplate.
The other one in the factory precinct, the Solar Square.
Well, the Solar Square is the market, right?
Yeah, the Solar Square is more like farmers market, sort of, or
Oh, gotcha. So when you're saying
regular
before,
goods, yeah.
we have enough time to see both precincts, not just the Iron Brotherhood and the Jewel. It was both precincts we had time to go through. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you started at the furthest one away,
Yep.
and now you're coming back to where you sort of started. And I will say the Iron Brotherhood is not in this market. They actually have their own separate building.
Yep, it's further down, right?
Yeah, they're on the way back
west.
if you want to
Yep.
visit though. Yeah. But what are you guys looking for here? It's sort of this is where you would find more like food and groceries, but you could also find sort of materials, like if lumber, metal, goods of that sort of variety. But definitely, Clax would know this probably best of all. That this is not magic item store. This is sort of like the mundane goods market. This is where the reagents come in that might get distributed elsewhere.
So if you guys don't want anything else, there's a meat on a stick vendor just down the corner. I'm gonna go grab one for everybody. Drada, you in?
I'll pass, but go for it. Thanks.
You'll pass. All right. So still four meat on stick, because I'll take two then. Anybody else? Because this place is really good. Like, it's really good. Mouse, you in?
Try anything once.
Right. So if you guys want, I'll just be right back. Just go find a little. In my mind, just there's like a little street vendor there that sells stuff that's probably not any type of meat you want to ask about, but it tastes good.
Yeah, and it's just like a kebab. It's nothing too fancy, and it's like a demi glaze of some kind that is very basic. It's a silver for 4 sticks.
He's bringing his camel or something.
It's probably more likely rat. One of these days I'll have a story about that for you guys. Real life story. Anyways,
while he walks off to do this, I'm just like glancing around looking for people who might sell like metal that's of quality to make armor with and things, just to see.
Yeah, I mean this is where you would get everything you need, especially if you wanted to take on the full plate project. You imagine that the Iron Brotherhood probably has a stockpile that they'll sell to you as well, but probably at a premium. This would just because they would have it on hand. But
I'll look around and see if I can find it here. If I think this looks like a place that would sell it to me cheaper for the same stuff, basically.
Yeah, not much of an issue at all. You don't have to roll an investigation to really find simple things like that here. But I will say that like you kind of get looks about like the sort of what are you working on, and like sort of curiosity as an unknown artisan in this area. It seems like a lot of the people here are supplied sort of very specifically to the Iron Brotherhood as you're sort of asking around, and just piqued some people's interests. Do you buy anything, or are you just sort of like scoping?
I'm just sort of pricing it out, like getting a feel for how much I'm going to need, and talking, haggling a little bit and whatnot. But if I get the impression that nobody really wants to sell to me because of some guild rules or something, or I'll potentially just wait until we're at the Iron Brotherhood.
Okay. Anything else from anybody here? Okay. Well,
so guys, they gave you one free because they're kind of well, they're getting a little old. I'll take that one though. So 3 for me. Mouse, Flint, here you go. Draw, I got 3 if you want one. If you change your mind. Oh,
enjoy some meat on a stick. So,
I take a bite and then give it back to.
You sure, Mouse?
I said I'd try anything once.
Oh.
It has been tried. Thank you, though.
Not a problem. Flint, what do you think?
It's meat,
right?
How much you
descriptor?
What
was that?
Aesop's heart's breaking.
What? Just try to what an accurate description.
Yeah, you're not missing that much, but it's fine. So Glax, like, how much are you looking to spend on some new armor? Or
Well, I think it all depends on what we see. If we can get some downtime, I mean, based on our conversations we were walking over, and we can get some forge time and stuff like that's by far and away the best way to go about it. But also, it's one of those things. If they do have anything that's enchanted, I'm definitely looking to. Again, I got. Not to be rude, I don't want to. I'm kind of looking around before I say it out loud, but I got more money than I know what to do with.
I mean, enchanted things are really expensive. Like, we have money, but uncertain if we've got that kind of money, depending on what you're thinking. But like,
What I'm thinking right now is if I can scope out a nice shield, and then if we can, again, not knowing what's going to come up while we're here, and not even knowing if we can get time. I mean, that's probably something we'd have to ask at the Brotherhood, to see if we could get forge time. I'd be interested to learn. I mean, you and all the little things you do, I've always been fascinated by it. So if you want help, I'll gladly help. I think it'd be cool and fun to make something, but I also don't want to put you out, and I'll compensate you for your time too. Like, just be.
I mean, I think if we aren't going with Avindir, we've got almost 2 weeks before he'll be leaving Consonance. So we may have some downtime. But it's still, if we're talking full plate, like probably 750, 800 gold somewhere in there for materials.
That's still a lot cheaper than what I remember seeing it. Again,
Oh yeah.
I never really looked seriously at them, but I mean, depending on who the artisan was, I think a cheap set was like in the 12s. The nice stuff was like 15, 16. Then you start getting to the ornamental stuff, it went from 2 to 5, like easy. So again, I don't need anything super fancy. Just maybe something where Drata can't make me a pincushion.
Well, let's go take a look at the Iron Brotherhood, see if they got any fancy shields, and then
head on over.
There.
I have 48 I can contribute, but I gave the rest of it, I think, to Aesop on our last shopping trip.
Mouse, you only have 48 gold?
48 coins. Some of them aren't gold.
Oh.
Mouse, bless you, but I think even if you don't understand the full impact of what you have, I think you enjoy it and you spend it how you see fit.
I mean, you could always take a loan from her, and then in like 5 days, you'll have more money to give back.
Yeah, I'd rather not owe anybody. I've seen card games go south real quick in the barracks and spew over to watch shifts and bad blood. Owing money's never a good thing.
Zoom gets you what you need. That way, I mean, then if I make you big, you'll be even stronger and protected against attacks. I think it's really important that you have the protection you need, and they're not really doing me any good. I don't mind at all.
I think if there's anybody in this world that you would want to owe money to, it might be Mouse.
Big hearty laugh. You're probably right. How about this, Mouse? Let's get to the Iron Brotherhood and we'll see. If I may make a recommendation, though, don't mention you have money while we're there. Just kind of keep it on the quiet for now.
I mean, I have
that you know of.
Well, it sounds like we're going to the Iron Brotherhood. I do want to just sort of bundle all this shopping together, so we will get to Aesop here momentarily. But you all step inside after another sort of short 20-odd minute journey. And you find a sort of large structure that is sort of just blasting with heat as you sort of first enter the space. This does not have doors so much as it is open air, like an open arcade of columns that are sort of helping to vent the heat out from under this canopy. As you step inside, the first thing that really catches your eye is a giant forge in the middle that seems to have several different workstations around it. It's a massive furnace that stands in the center of the room. The flames are illuminating the entire space with an orange glow that, those of you who are wearing armor, like metal armor, you're not. It's not heating to the point of pain and damage, but it's sort of like it's uncomfortable here. And you look around, and the people who are working on this forge on a variety of instruments are wearing clothes to do the job. They're not wearing armor as they're doing this. They're dressed down as little as possible. In the middle of this forge, you all see a whirlwind of fire. As I would say, Flint, roll me an intelligence check for me.
Sure.
Yeah, a 13. You're not able to tell. You imagine this to be either an elemental or perhaps some places that are sort of set up like this may have a gemstone similar to the one Avindir uses to push the cart with wind. That there are elemental gemstones that sort of just summon like a gout of fire indefinitely when it's activated. You can't tell if this is like an elemental who's working or if it's sort of that, but you know the nature of the fire is that it's just sort of like non-stop blaze without necessarily a fuel source is what you're sort of witnessing. There's racks with tools and equipment. This place is quite loud as people are banging on things, and it also looks quite full. The impression you also get just sort of looking around is that there are a lot of perhaps there seems to be a uniform of sorts, even in just the sort of like threadbare clothes people are wearing to stay cool in this atmosphere, but they are all wearing the same sort of like white linens and sashes across, and so you get the impression that this is sort of like guild work that's happening here. And it looks quite busy, and nobody is currently approaching you to greet you.
Have I been here before? Would I know, like, if there's a kind of I don't want to call it a shop front, but like a general area for customers that they kind of go and stand at, or is this what it is?
This is what it is. I would say you've either been here before or you've placed orders here through the admin folks at the barracks before. It is what it is. You generally work with individuals, and they sort of like pay a tithe to the guild, but you generally have to find somebody who's not busy or somebody who's willing to take orders.
So there's no inventory, like,
yeah. Your impression would be that if somebody was looking for work, they would make themselves known at this moment. Doesn't mean that you can't approach somebody and put in an order, but that the forges are currently busy.
Oh. What I think I would do is kind of observe for 5-10 minutes and just see if there's anyone who's not quite in the middle of something that looks like it's time sensitive. You know, like somebody who's quenched a blade but waiting versus somebody who's, you know, in the middle of hammering and stoking a fire or anything like that. Like, see if there's anybody who has a little bit, I don't want to call it downtime, but in between steps.
Okay. I would say after 5-10 minutes, especially in an environment like this, there are people who step out for a water break, if anything. You find an individual who sort of has like red skin and horns coming out of their head, a tiefling who probably is a bit more comfortable in this environment, but nonetheless sort of wipes their brow and takes a step out into the open air that you could imagine approaching.
Walking up there, and how's it going today? The forge is hot?
Always.
Anybody here looking for work? Any commissions going on right now?
Always. You got work?
It depends on the price.
Depends on the work.
Shield and plate. What are you guys quoting these days for updated shield? And when I say shield, I'm looking for a little more than just your standard fare. Plate, I want to get an idea for the price. I might have another avenue I might explore, but kind of want to compare pricing.
When you say not standard fare, you mean nice?
I mean,
Or-
anything enchanted. Give me a little extra protection. Because then I'll kind of pull my shield off my back. Like, this one's served me very well. Love the fit, love the design. Made some customizations on the inside here, but it's getting beat up.
He looks at it, says, I mean, I could fix this up for you for pretty cheap, but you're looking to enchant it or replace it. He seems to be considering. He's sort of sizing you up in the moment. He said, "Who's paying for this then?"
I am.
You got
Try
the
me.
coin? Give me a persuasion check with advantage. He is in the market to make a deal.
And come on, something above a 6. All right, there we go.
He looks at you and says, "Enchanted shield, standard, strong, but nothing special. You don't want any. You just want it to be resilient. You're not looking for anything creative, we'll say."
If you can do creative, I'm open for discussion, but no, I didn't come here with the intent to be creative at this time. You know, there are a few stipulations on how the handholds are and stuff like that that I'd like worked in there. Over my time, I've realized some certain things I do like and don't like, but nothing complex, nothing overly crazy. Doesn't need to look. It needs to look respectable. Doesn't need to look fancy.
He considers and he says, 3,000. 3,500 if you want it quicker.
What's the turnaround on the 3,000 versus the turnaround time on the 3,500?
4 weeks versus 2 weeks.
For that price, there's anything from a customer who hasn't paid or filled up their order or anything?
Down payment for half, but otherwise we're good. You can think about it. Just find me.
Name? I'm Clax.
He gives you the forearm handshake, says, a goose.
A goose? Pleasure. Now, what do you guys normally charge for just a standard set of full plate?
He's looking you up and down, sort of like trying to determine
6'7", 315, 48-inch chest.
You're telling him this.
Yeah. So you can get dimensions.
Yeah. 1,100.
Turnaround time on that?
A week, or 1,300 for 4 days.
Are you in here tomorrow?
Sure am.
Goose, I'll swing back by. Appreciate it. And I'll just give him a tip of 10 gold. Just to let him know there's some serious conversation to be had.
He takes it. There's a degree to which he's talking about thousands of gold at the moment, and that 10 gold is like, it's
correct.
It's not an insult, but it's sort of just like it's a thanks for your time,
Yeah.
And it's but he knows that the money is elsewhere. So he sort of just nods and pockets it and walks back in.
I'll walk out or walk to where the rest of the party is and turn to him and say, I do well with fire, but it is getting a little warm in here.
Fine.
And start walking out.
Do I
Definitely.
see anywhere that is here, like, selling metal that I could buy it?
There's no storefront here. This is the impression you're getting is that guild members use this forge and probably supply themselves from the Solar Square market.
Okay. Did I get any sense of price from the Solar Square market? What it would take to get enough metal?
The impression you get is that they would sell to you, but that things would cost like 15% more than what your normal crafting would cost.
Okay, so
something costing 500 would cost like 650. I'm not doing math, but
okay.
You know, not impossible. The forge time, though, you sort of get getting a read of like, you probably need to make some friends here before you actually are welcome in that sense. Is that all that we have on this half of the crew?
Yeah, to expedite things. So as I walk out, I just want to start talking with Flint and comparing pricing versus his time, and is it worth it? Do we want to look at, see where else our travels end up and stuff like that, and kind of have that conversation.
Yeah. Okay. And you all are heading to... Are you trying to link up with Avindir at this point?
I would like to still at least have the conversation with him.
Okay.
And Agoose, Agoose, is how I was spelling it.
Aguus.
All right. Thank you.
Good old fantasy name generators.
Gotta love it.
Would have never guessed that. The spelling.
Spelling doesn't matter, just as long as you know who you're talking about.
I was really picturing like French somehow, August, but just the S and T are silent. But here we are.
And I literally spelled Agoose.
Or it was an actual goose that you were talking to.
Okay. Well, let us move back to Aesop before we rendezvous everybody. You have your pleasant stroll back up through the Stone Landing, through the Van Centenary, and approach the Temple to Vapos. This is a structure that is designed to show off sort of like impressive engineering insofar as like fountain work is considered. You see that it's sort of next to this lake that has a few buildings surrounding it, but primarily the one that stands most dominant among them is the temple. There is water through some sort of like pipe system that you're probably not sure of that's flowing into the temple and then sort of shooting back out into the lake. And there's all sorts of sort of like miniature fountains or little spectacles. It's almost like there's an aqueduct running, ornamental aqueduct running through this place. And at the middle of it, there is something akin to a wishing well in the middle with still water. It is not very well attended, but there is a single figure here who sort of acknowledges your entrance. This is a half-elf woman who's sort of wearing kind of like blue flowing robes, and sort of approaches you and says, I don't think I've seen you here before.
Hi. No, I'm Aesop. Actually born and raised in the city, but I had to take a quick adventure out. Recently came back. I'm an I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm in a predicament. And I kind of like look behind me and make sure no one's really. You said there wasn't a lot of people attending right now, so I assume there's not a lot of people around.
It seems, yeah. This is not. There's not a strong presence here. In fact, it's just the two of you. There's a couple people passing by on the road behind you, but nobody else in this building. The building represents. It is sort of represented as a sort of like open air gazebo almost. I chose the icon on the map like pretty earnestly when I did it. That it's sort of like a single structure with the pool in the middle, but there's not a whole. There isn't really like a proceeding of people who are here. It seems to be like a place that you would visit and then leave.
How familiar are you with water elemental gems?
She sort of looks at you and says, they, in the way that many use them, I am quite familiar.
I found one. I've also kind of been communicating with it. Asa clearly doesn't know how to have this conversation, and also just feels super guilty about everything.
She has a very polite look on her face. There's nothing you've said that sort of like
makes her distraught. Okay.
Yeah.
And over time, we've become more friendly, even though it's more of a one-sided thing. But I could feel their presence more and more as time went on. And then I encountered a corrupted elemental, and we defeated it, but
her eyes are furrowing like she doesn't. The story went in a different direction that she wasn't expecting.
But this happened in the middle of the fight, and I'll pull out the gem and I'll kind of show her the crack. Has the crack increased? Or the black?
Roll a perception check.
The black line. Hot.
I think you keep rolling bad every time you check, but
yep.
At the moment, it's like you're sort of showing it to her, and she's looking at it for the first time, and
I'm more reading her face, I think.
He says, interesting. Afraid I don't know anything about corruption and the things that you're hinting at, but certainly something is different about this one.
Could we is there blessed water, like a blessed area that we could put the gem in, maybe have it more be the home-like states? I'm just trying to figure out ways of trying to fix them.
She sort of is holding her hand out for the gem, hoping to hold it.
Yeah.
She go ahead and roll me an insight check.
I'm hopefully better at these. I get a bigger bonus.
You're not quite able to discern what she's thinking in this moment, but she says, I am willing to see what I can do. Do you mind if I try something?
Go for it. Do you need to know more information about the gem before you do so?
Yeah, I'm open to hearing anything you wish to tell me, but no, I wish to see. She turns to the sort of still water behind her, where there's it's not a wishing well. There's no coins in there, but it sort of has that architecture around it. She turns to it and she looks like she's considering putting it in.
Please. In fact, I was going to ask if I could try that myself.
She turns and says, sort of speaking in primordial, her voice turns into that which is sort of rushing water, waves crashing against shores. She speaks to the gem and sort of shares a quick prayer. Master of currents, tides, and waves, we come before you in reverence and awe, seeking your blessing and protection. Your realm is vast and ever-changing. Mighty rivers, tranquil lakes, stormy seas. In your wisdom and power, we ask you to guide us on our journey. And she puts the gem, she sort of like lays it gently into the lake. The water from the lake glows, it's kind of like the sun is hitting it, and there's a sheen of light reflecting off of it, like a reflecting pool situation. And then it turns dark.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to see sort of tendrils pouring out from the Neptus gem. And she sort of has a slight gasp before she reaches in sort of very quickly and pulls it out. You see that when she pulls it out, the water that is now dripping from her hand is sort of like an inky black.
Ooh.
The pool itself, you sort of look at it as the light fades away, and it seems like it has seemed to cleanse itself, whatever this pool is. But the water that like sort of lingers on her hand has turned black. The gem doesn't seem to have changed in this moment, but it's clear that something's wrong, and she has a look on her face of concern.
The being that we were fighting, it was... I don't know how familiar you are with the plane of Earth, but it was a rather high-ranking Earth elemental.
I'm not. You need to get this to people who know better than me.
Do you know where I should go?
Two places come to mind. There is, down in the Nightmire, a temple commune of sorts, referred to as Aqua Silva. There is a priest there by the name of Esli. Oh my god, random character name generators. Easy TLI.
EZTLI. Perfect.
If anybody knows, it's him. But there's also Thalassia, which is... she describes where Thalassia is, and it rings in your mind that you've actually been directed here before. It's the waterfall north of Propitious. I think you were researching Neptus and Mistral, and you'd sort of heard about it. Yeah, you'd heard about it, another community of water genasi, which is down here. So the first, if you're on the world map, this paying is the second one that you mentioned, and the first one she mentioned is somewhere down here. She says, "This is beyond me. and I am sorry.
I appreciate your help, though. Take the gem back.
Yeah, she sort of like, it's like happy to hand it to you and then quick to sort of like find something to wipe her hands on.
Right.
Um, she says, I must, even if I don't know anything now, I must go look into this. Excuse me. And she sort of like steps away and seems to go in. There is sort of like one almost like a kiosk that you would go for parking in a parking garage. She just seems to open a door and then walk down some stairs and leave your sight.
Well, I would have told her something if she would have stayed longer, but I understand. Look down at Neptus. I'm going to help you. It's the least I can do for you saving my life. And I'll put the gem back in the bag and walk to the meeting spot. Look in the sky for any writing. Look on the ground for any animal messengers.
Oh, I thought we were planning to rendezvous. My plan was. No, I think Mouse would have waited, and if Aesop doesn't show up, then sent a message, or if we weren't going to show up, then sent a message. I think as long as things are going according to plan.
Okay. Well, it's actually would turn out that Aesop, will arrive before you. So that is not a concern for Mouse. It's not too early though, and I will say, like, Aesop, you have maybe 5 minutes with Avindir before the rest of the crew arrives, but you do see that he is sort of setting up his wagon. He seems to have pulled it out of the stables and outside of the front gates where he told you he would meet. You sort of exit the gates to the city and see him sort of just securing everything that he has, making sure that he's ready for the journey. You see him before he sees you, so you could approach if you want.
Yeah, I'll approach. Just kind of check in, make sure, or I'll actually say, hopefully everything went well today, Avindir. Nice to see you again.
Asa, good to see you. Yes, all is well. Definitely on a tight timetable though, so I think I do have to get going, sadly.
Well, when everyone else arrives, I'll talk about what we want to do.
And what a coincidence! There's people coming out of the gate right behind you.
Wow, that's so crazy. Hello, everyone.
Avindir gives a friendly wave.
Hey, Avindir, you all packed up?
I am. Have you decided if you're coming along or not?
I honestly don't know if we've decided anything. I think, as much as I wanted to make sure I followed you back, if you're certain you're okay, I think there's some other business I'd like to attend to while I'm here. And again, I don't want to speak for the group. If the group wants to go, and I know I was the one pushing for it, so.
I get the impression that, Avindir can take care of himself. Sounds like he thinks he'll be fine. And we've got some things to do here, so I also think I lean towards us staying here, and then maybe we'll, continue on with Avindir after they're leaving Consonance. Maybe.
Good to me.
I'm always happy to spend a few extra days in my home city.
Well, it'll be a good week and a half before I'm back, I think, but certainly, I mean, you are welcome to stay. I feel quite confident that I can make the return trip, and once I do, Gris will be escorting me along with the caravan, so we'll have considerable means to protect ourselves on the way here.
No. Mouse, are you good with it too?
Of course, I'm happy to do whatever you all think is best, and it sounds like we have a couple of things to follow up on here. And I trust Avindir can take care of himself.
So Avindir, out of my paranoia, for whatever reason, anything goes wrong, use your book, call us, contact us, whatever. We're at your disposal, but fair wins.
He gives you the look and of sort of like, I mean this in the nicest way. Do you think I can take care of myself? I just mean to know.
I have no
what
doubt
you're
you can take care of yourself against most threats. The concern I have is the amount of money you're talking about and the announcement of your retirement, for lack of a better term, and taking up a new position. And I understand you understand politics far greater than I do, and maybe that's why I'm paranoid. There were some unsavory people doing business, talking about stuff that they probably had no right talking about. Nothing about you, but
I understand. Let me ask. Do you think you could take care of yourself on the road?
Same answer I gave you for most things, yes. But I also don't have nearly the target on me that someone like you would. I just look like a mean wanderer.
Wow, you're cool. Congrats.
Who, me?
No.
Oh.
He sort of... I say this because I think that it might set your mind at ease. Care for a duel? I can prove to you that I'll take care of myself.
We have 15 minutes left.
Oh.
Before that goes down, I did your mail. Okay, you can fight now.
You know what? It would put me at ease. I am curious. Are we doing this fistcuff style? Or are we doing this how are we doing this?
You see him like pull the cloak to the side, and there's a rapier at his belt. He says, "It's just friendly."
Absolutely. Oh, trust me. I'm not about to kill my employer.
As if you could.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Do I need to just go ahead and chalice form here, or
They'll be fine. They're just dueling. Or
Shit. We gotta
sparring.
So, he takes a position that you kind of respected immediately. He's already on his toes and sort of like a duelist. Like he's functionally already taken the dodge action as he's preparing for you. And he's very light on his feet with his rapier pulled out.
All right.
It says, "We could do fists if you want, but I feel like if I'm to give you any confidence that we should go all out."
Let's set some rules first, though. Do we go to first blood? Do we go to... Because I don't want to... You're about to get on the road, and if you best me, great. But if I hit you, I also don't want to put you in a bad shape going forward. Like, and I have no doubt you can take care of yourself. But this is just going to be a fun challenge.
He looks to everybody else to see what the crowd wants.
I'm going to get my ass kicked.
Put him at ease.
Duels aren't my thing, so.
Well, for the sake of expediency, you guys work out something. We're gonna say either until we have to call it a night, or just because there's only going to be 2 actors, so it's not like it's not going to be a long combat, I don't think. But either until we need to call it a night, or until somebody would go to 0 hit points. But under you're sort of doing it with like tapping each other. You're not actually hurting each other.
Okay.
We're counting hit points for the purposes of like who's winning, but not who's taking damage.
So like check strike, like, hey,
yeah,
I would have got you there. Okay, reset.
Yeah, exactly.
Got you.
So let's just go ahead and roll initiative between the 2 of us. And if anybody's going to engage, you just interrupt me at the end of the round.
I feel like Kalax definitely brought this upon himself. So I am very much sitting on a tree stump, away from all of this. Right over here.
Just I understand. How close is the nearest other person that's not us?
You don't see anybody. This road is not traveled, and the walls are not being covered at the moment, or are not being patrolled at the moment.
I was gonna head up a tree to get a nice bird's eye view.
Well, it appears that Avindir is up first. He seems to be waiting for you. He's taking the dodge action.
Oof. The drama.
Then I will go ahead and oblige. Rap twice on the front of the shield with the axe. Go move on in. See what he's got.
So these rolls are at disadvantage.
Well, I don't think I even need to roll the next one.
Yeah. that one misses.
You can dodge out of the way. Kind of give him a nod.
Yeah, he's very light on his feet. You do have 2 attacks, though.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, sorry. Yep. There. Okay,
So,
and
with disadvantage.
Oh,
Okay.
big number. All right.
That would tag him, and sort of as he's sort of pulling away, the way that he moves is for an old man is actually relatively acrobatic. You get the impression that maybe because it's of his heritage, but it's almost like he's manipulating the wind around him despite his age as he's sort of dancing around. But you do land a hit on him, a tag on him nonetheless. And he sort of gives you like a wry smile.
And that's my turn. I can move my character just so it shows that was there. I'm not going to be going balls while I'm not burning bonus actions and all that stuff right now.
Yeah. He sort of, in this narrative sense, he is not doing damage to you, but he's really holding back to do so because he is doing a shocking grasp on you, which has advantage because you're wearing metal.
Ooh.
That was accidentally roll at
hits.
disadvantage, but
23 hits.
and when you take the 5 damage, when he's holding back, he's functionally like shocked the sword out of your hand in this moment, and he's going to also come in with a rapier attack in his other hand. He seems to be able to do both at once. And so he tags you with this one as well. And after making you sort of just drop your weapon, after shocking grasp, you can't take reactions. So he actually takes a full 35 feet back, kind of playing cat and mouse with you a little bit as he kind of gives you a smile and says, "Gotcha."
Absolutely. Action to pick up my weapon or bonus action? What
It's nothing because
Okay.
it was just designed to narrate the no reactions.
All right. Picking up my axe off the ground, proceed to run my 30 feet. I know I'm not going to catch him. I'll be a little bit outside the range. But as I get close to him, I'm going to, with how am I going to? As I'm running, going to throw the axe into my shield hand, so I can't really use my axe, but I'm going to throw a hand axe at him while I'm closing the distance.
Okay. I think you can technically throw both of them if you wanted. Ooh.
No, and he's not a. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't have to roll disadvantage on that. So, you mean I could throw both hand axes?
Yeah, because you still have 2 attacks.
Mm.
I think that one I'm imagining because you're throwing it in the non-lethal way.
Yeah,
You've
I'd say I
thrown
only get one. I only get one off, by the way. I'd keep the second one because to me,
Okay.
like flipping it over, I wouldn't.
Gotcha. In this case, like going for a range attack in this play thing, you sort of like throw it, especially with a natural 20, with the intent of hitting on the non-sharp edge. You sort of like clock him in the side in a way that does cause pain, but is not a slashing pain in his gut.
I kind of give him a nod now and put my axe back over to my normal hand, and his turn.
First, he kicks the axe that you threw at him behind him, and then you see him lift his arm, and I need you to make a strength saving throw or Constitution saving throw.
Oh, sorry. Well, I can either reroll or keep that and just do the adjustment.
Yeah, I would just keep it just because.
Okay. So sorry, saving throws. Save on con is +7, so it actually is a 14.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. You see, you feel the pressure of wind sort of trying to lift you up, and you are able to just sort of like grab onto plant your axe into the ground to sort of hold firm. And he sort of like smiles and says, "Good," but then he sort of like somersaults over this in order to sort of escape you in the immediate term without much issue. I didn't create walls in this scene, but he's out of your line of sight at the moment.
So what I'll do is I will take my turn to walk around the backside of the caravan. And while I'm doing it, I'll yell over, "Avindir, you have definitely impressed me. Now I don't want to stop because this is just getting to be fun." And I'll try to make my way. Again, not even sure if that's 30 feet, but I'm sure I'm close to the back of that at that point.
Yeah. And you're staying put?
If I can make it around, I will.
Oh, yeah. I don't think you can reach him.
No.
But you can get a little closer, yeah.
Yeah, just eyeball, and I didn't know where 30 feet was, so just ballpark. Closing the gap on him.
Okay. Is that your turn?
Yeah, that's my, actually, since I still have an action, I will hold the dodge action. Or I will take the dodge action, I should say.
Okay.
At the end of the turn, just for ambiance, I will cast Call Lightning, and I'm not going to target anyone, but I am going to make some lightning strikes come down around this fight just for epic, just to make it cool.
There's probably momentary concern from both parties, but I assume. What does Mouse look like? Is there light shining out of her eyes?
Holds the star map staff up in the air and just is cheering in her short little self and almost cackling in a concerned, she might be a little too excited about this. But like the lightning strikes every 12-ish seconds hit pretty far from people. Like, I'm not putting anyone at risk. I'm just being cool.
Okay. Go ahead and roll Clax a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
This is to avoid the distraction.
I think I'd shout something like, "Get him!" Like, I'm not hiding that this is coming from me.
But Avindir sees this more clearly than you, and is able to negate your dodge action as you turn around at Mouse in this moment. And he's going to come in for 2 rapier strikes, as well as it should not have been at advantage, so I'm just going to take both rolls as if they were individual attacks. He misses with that, and then pulls out a dagger from the side, which I rolled twice again, just taking the first one.
Yeah, either way.
I don't know why I keep holding shift.
You're good.
And clocks you for 6 damage, just sort of like, basically like under your arm. You just feel like the bludgeoning of a knife hit you. And he is going to use the remainder of his movement to try to jump up onto the wagon.
Attack of opportunity.
Sure.
Not that you shouldn't also attack of opportunity him, but you I believe it's on when somebody hits you.
Yeah, I have riposte.
Blind them.
Oh, with the axe. Yeah, I didn't even think about the axe, but I'll get him on the next one.
I mean,
try and do the minimum about like. Try not to get into too many of my my craziness stuff, but yeah, I rolled in that one, so I don't think I have.
Yeah. Let's do one more round just for the sake of time. Yep. You get one attack. Well, you get one and he gets one, and then we'll call it.
All right. So I guess, being my size, I would kind of put one hand on the wheel, kind of find the ledge where the canvas meets the top of the thing, kind of try and launch myself up, not nearly as gracefully as Avindir.
I should make him make the acrobatics roll. He's fine.
Yeah. And actually, is this just cloth top? If it's just a cloth top,
it is. But there certainly must be some kind of like beams under it that are holding him, because he seems to be standing up there without issue.
Yeah, I think I'll go around the other way. I think I'll give him the high ground and come at him from the other side. Just in hindsight, I'm a big guy. I ain't trying that. And then
yeah, he is a bit high up though, so these are going to be with disadvantage as you're reaching.
That's fine. I will go ahead and take my first swing. Nope, no need to even roll the disadvantage, and I'll take my second.
17 does not. 17 does not hit.
Right. And then that's it.
He kind of just does like it's sort of in the same moment that he sort of jumps down to avoid your second blow, and is going to do his shocking grasp once again. Not hitting with it, but still going in for he sort of reaches for your sword once again, and to dodge, to pull it back, but he's just going to try to get one last tap in with his rapier nonetheless.
And he does.
And it's sort of like as he's... this is less of a tap and more of this sort of like holding it at your throat moment.
Just kind of surrender, put the axe down, as best I can, put the axe down, shield's there.
He puts things away as well, and is taking a breath. You do see he is more warned than you. He in this sort of like narrative moment, he had the upper hand, but you and all of the observers and he knows that the fight was not over, and that even you guys were quite evenly matched, and chances are you could have taken him if it went on further.
But what I'll do is, as soon as he drops his rapier, I'm just going to extend out a hand to give him a good warrior's grasp.
He reaches for it as well, and as another lightning strike clashes in the distance behind him, and he says, "That was fun, and frankly, a good reminder that I need to shake off these cobwebs. Perhaps we can do it again sometime."
Actually, I was going to ask you the same thing. Shake off those cobwebs, and I won't restrain myself as much as I did. And I hope you don't either, because I think you still held back too.
He gives you like a little look and says, "I have some things up my sleeve," quite literally. And he sort of like pulls out his coat, and you see a bandolier of like 6 different potions that you have no idea what the hell they do. He offers one to you, pulling the cork off of it. A red potion that seems like he's offering it to you without much issue, and he takes one himself.
You're going on the road. I got a good night's rest ahead of me. It would make me feel better if you kept it.
All right. He drinks it, and in front of you is drinking without really a second thought, is drinking a superior healing potion.
Oh man, maybe I should have taken it from him.
This is what people with money do. He is
He might be richer than I think he is.
Yeah.
Did you see what he's paying us? Mouse
I mean,
know, Millie knows.
That healing potion's probably worth more than everything he's paid us all together so far.
No, that's about a 500 gold potion.
Oh, is it? Okay, I thought that was
still so bad for a potion.
We should have negotiated more. It's fine.
The other potions in his belt, like you just sort of look. There's a variety of things. It's not just healing potions. He has like this. Different colors, different things that I don't think Clax would know at first glance before he puts it away and says, "But somebody takes my toys away from me, and I'm vulnerable. I respect that." So
not as vulnerable as I would have thought when I first met you. But
I hope this was well received. I'm not trying to show off here. You've shown me that you've shown me a lot. I think I still trust Grist to take care of me, but I certainly do need to get in shape.
again, well met, safe travels. And I'll walk over, start picking my hand axe, and kind of put myself back together and walk back to the group. Mouse? Is that you? This stuff?
Oh, the lighting?
Yeah. I think you can probably. Yeah, but you can probably kill it right now. We're just outside the gates, like.
Oh, I didn't announce this, but I did delete it as soon as you guys stopped fighting.
Oh, okay.
I can drop it at will.
Just before we end, Avindir walks up to the rest of the group and says, well, I have a road ahead of me. I think I owe you all a few things, though. Sort of turns to Aesop and says, in my meetings, I did ask about the no-fly zone situation, and it does seem that they advised that I would go around on the last leg of the trip from Ildre back to Consonance that the airship should go overland as opposed to over the winds. He says that, and it sort of aligns with what you learned earlier in the day,
Right.
that the Savannah Island is sort of a no-fly zone. He doesn't know that you know that, but it was on his list.
Right.
He says that's unfortunately all that I know.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And he turns to Drada, but is addressing the whole group as he says this. He just sort of hands something to Drada, and he says, if you are staying in Consonance and have some free time, I encourage you to formally introduce yourself to Captain Willow. I know you briefly met back at the Skyport in Vind, but our contract and this message should get you escort to meet with him, and there's no business to attend to necessarily, but if you were to join the expedition, or excuse me, the auction, it would be good to at least meet him. He's giving you the eyes, Drada, as he's handing this to you as well.
Thank you.
But unless there's anything else, I should probably get on the road.
Safe travels.
Don't mind, just check in once you make it back.
He nods in earnest acknowledgement. And then gets on his wagon and plugs in his gem that shoots wind in the sails and floats away. Do you read what he handed you, Drada? Or do you just sort of hold on to it?
I sure read it. Make sure no one else is like next to me and can look over while I read it, but I read it.
Okay. I'll put it. The message says, Captain, please introduce all crew members to our newest partners, the Left Stars. The sky is the limit with these folks, so please be diplomatic.
Gotcha.
Do you keep that to yourself, or you just sort of like...
Oh no, I'm happy to share, like, we have a lovely letter of introduction, y'all.
Gets us in.
And we will leave our game there as we decide what to do next and figure out what all else you are doing in Consonance. So thanks for playing. Sorry I went 10 minutes later than I promised. I'm breaking promises today, so.
Well, I think I'm just as guilty of that.
All right. Thank you.
No.